Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the 5 things that I don't exactly like about the new GMC Sierra 1500 AT4X. As always though, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Number 1 is the seats. So, if you guys have seen the 5 things that I love about this truck, then you know that I talked about how I love the design of this interior, and they've definitely just brought things up from a material standpoint by a massive amount. That being said though, these seats are not exactly the softest seats for a luxury vehicle. Now, this does have massaging seats, which is definitely nice, but again, at the same time, I just think they need to add a little bit more padding with these seats, especially when you compare this to Ford's like Platinum seats or their seats in the Limited, or even like something like the Ford Raptor. They definitely have just a little bit more cushion to it. These seats are a little bit on the hard side of things, and so I definitely think that GM needs to improve that a little bit. Number 2 is leaf springs. So I know that I bring this up in so many different videos, but the point still needs to be made. This still utilizes leaf springs, which there are some benefits to leaf springs. Typically, you can get a higher payload out of them, and reliability is really solid with leaf springs because they're tried and true compared to, multi-link systems. But again, this is an off-road oriented package, and so a multi-link system would just benefit us a massive amount in terms of helping out with the articulation, but then also just ride comfort. And again, from a luxury truck perspective, it helps out with ride comfort. And frankly, this truck doesn't have a massive payload. As you guys can see, 1322 for the payload. I have a Gen 3 Ford Raptor right now, which is not a tow truck, and I have a payload capacity that is 1,300 pounds. So like, this has leaf springs, but you don't get a lot of the normal benefits of leaf springs in terms of having like a higher payload, for example. So yeah, I think they should switch to a multi-link system, especially for the off-road oriented packages from GM's lineup. But yeah, next point. Number 3 is the sunroof. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm trying to make these videos actually pretty quick and to the point. Anyways, as you can see, we have a sunroof. It's not a panoramic sunroof though. And like every other luxury truck offers a panoramic sunroof, so I don't know why this doesn't have a panoramic sunroof. Yeah, again, this truck's almost $80,000. Ram Limited, you can get a panoramic sunroof. Toyota Tundra, you can get a panoramic sunroof. Ford, you can get a panoramic sunroof. Even Nissan, for goodness sakes, you can get a panoramic sunroof. Why can't you get a panoramic sunroof in an $80,000 truck made by GM? Come on. Now, number 4 is kind of 2 points I had to put together, and that's axle ratio and engine options. Okay, so we'll start things off at the rear end, and that is the fact that we have an axle ratio of 3.23, okay? And then we will pop the hood and go over the engine, which is GM's naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8, and really strong powertrain actually. So it's got 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, goes through 10-speed. Fuel economy is 14 around town, 18 on the highway. Now I think that's the reason why they went for the 3.23 axle ratio, is fuel economy. With that axle ratio, it's gonna be at lower RPMs on the highway. You're going to get better fuel economy. So I understand that, but again, this is an off-road oriented truck, so you'd want to have at least like a 3.55, if not something more aggressive like a 3.73 or even like a 3.92. The Ford Raptor, for example, uses a 4.10 axle ratio, and that feels great off-road. And frankly, the Ford Raptor, even though it has a completely different powertrain, it's a twin turbo V6, doesn't get horrible fuel economy on the highway. So I don't know, I think that they should do something with the axle ratio. Now, powertrains. This only offers a 6.2 V8, and I think this was a slight mistake on GM's part. Now, I understand this is supposed to be more of like a high-speed off-road package because it has the multimatic shocks. At the same time, though, everyone is obsessed with GM's 3-liter Duramax diesel because it is an extremely reliable powertrain. It's GM's most reliable powertrain by far. The 5.3 and the 6.2 do not compare, especially in the 2.7. Don't even talk about the 2.7. But that powertrain is super reliable, gets great fuel economy, and it has just as much torque as the powertrain. And frankly, this truck, even though it has, more high-speed off-road oriented shocks, this truck has a front and rear locker, and it's really good at crawling, and that diesel would make it even better crawling. So I think what GM should do is they should just offer the Duramax as an option with the AT4X. Make it so the 6.2 is standard, and make the Duramax like a no-cost option or something if you want to switch over to that. I think that would be a great move to go for, and I think a lot of people, frankly, would do it. I think more people would get the Duramax than the 6.2 in the AT4X, especially since this is more, crawler-oriented. And even from like a luxury truck perspective, that Duramax is just a great engine. Number 5 is the price. Okay, so we got to go to the window sticker. Now, I don't think that this is up-to-date pricing on this truck because there have been some price increases. So the base MSRP here says $73,300. After all options, $76,790. Now, I reviewed an AT4X at the local GMC dealership here, and it had a base price of like $75,000. And so I think this truck was produced pre-price increase. But regardless, whether this truck is a $76,000 truck or, you know, almost an $80,000 truck, it is in the same price range as, well, a base model Ram TRX or a pretty loaded up Ford Raptor with a 35 package. Now, with a base model Ram TRX, you're not going to get nearly as many creature comforts on the inside as what this has. You're not going to get the nice leather interior with massaging seats and all that kind of stuff. And then with a Raptor with a 35 package that's loaded up, that's similar MSRP to this, you're obviously not going to probably be able to get a deal at MSRP in today's market because they're all going for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 over sticker. But if we just look at MSRP to MSRP, this is like the same MSRP as a Raptor, and it's definitely not on the same level from a capability standpoint. And we mentioned in an earlier point, this doesn't have more towing capability than a Raptor. A Raptor tows 8,000 pounds, this tows 8,900. A Raptor has 1,300 pounds of payload, this has 1,322. So it's not like this gives you more like truck capability compared to a Raptor for the same amount of money. It frankly gives you about the same, like slightly more, but it's a negligible amount. And so I think that GM should do a little bit more for the truck for the money, or maybe not have it be as expensive. One of the two, right? So I think that if this truck had 35s instead of 32.5-inch tall tires, and if it had a more aggressive axle ratio like a 3.73, which I don't think either of those changes would be extremely expensive to do, then this truck would be a lot more exciting to people because, you know, people just on the open market right now would be like, okay, well, I can't get a Raptor, but I can get this really cool looking luxury truck from GMC with 35s and an aggressive enough axle ratio that it's actually going to feel peppy off the line with the 6.2 V8. I think I'm going to go for that instead of paying $20,000 over sticker for a Raptor. So, yeah, I don't know. I understand why they have it priced at the point they have it priced at, but I think that they either need to make some changes or maybe lower it down a smidge. That's going to sum things up for the 5 things that I don't exactly like about the GMC Sierra 1500 AT4X. I'll see all of you in the next video.